Check out this HEC meeting. So I came out, and Mark Druckley, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Sure. I'll tell you a little bit of history about the company that I started. I launched right around 7 months ago. About 10 years ago, I was at, and we've all been there, dead-end sales job, and that light went off when I was at that cubicle at the on the phone. At this dead-end job, and I said, hey, wait a second, my dad's got this company. If you look on the handouts that I have on your table, my father started an engineering firm back in 1998. The good news is that he signed up and registered to sell to the government. I had no idea. You know, I was at a trade show a couple weeks ago, and someone came up to my booth and said, well, I didn't know that the government buys from small business. They absolutely do. It's about 26%. I'm going to go through a couple of bullet points. Again, you've got handouts on your tables here. And also the PowerPoint presentation is also available. I can email that to you. I'm going to jump right into things. The government actually buys, believe it or not, I'm going to say something positive about the government. They actually get it right. What they do is they go through an advertising process. They advertise it in terms of solicitation. They also have set-asides. They have set-asides for women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, businesses that are minority status. They also have Hub Zone. We have something like that in the St. Pete, where it's a zone. If your business is in that zone, you can have that status as well. We're going to go and talk about a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages. It is a long process. It's not business to consumer, it's not business to business. That's something that most of us are used to, is selling to businesses or selling to the consumer. That goes very quickly. Or you've sold on eBay, you've sold to fellow businesses, whether in town or out of town. With business to government, you're looking at 45 to 60 days. I know our director has mentioned you've had an opportunity to get some cheesecake, so thank you for that input. Pallets of cheesecake. They're not here today. Just a couple of acronyms: RFQ, RFI, RFP. RF stands for request for, so request for quote, request for information, request for proposal. What we do is we provide the consultation to walk you through this process. It's a there's a lot of information, so I'm just going to go over some bullet points today about how this whole thing works. Again, I've had 8 years plus experience of some positives, some home runs, some nightmares. But that's some of the experience that I can share with you, and for someone that you know that is a business that is looking to expand and look into a B2G type of scenario. Okay? A couple of strategies. Most of us are experts at your business. You know your business better than anybody else. You can share that expertise. The way the government buys is what they do is they make us do the homework. They're not the hardest workers, believe me. So what they do is they hire consultants. They hire consultants, and then the consultants rates the proposal. Then the government puts out the bid. They put the bid out, and then you start to see hardware sales, and you start to see maintenance. The maintenance folks that handle the service and that kind of thing bid on those projects. Submission of it. This is very important. This is again something that they did very correctly. Normally, when you have a business-to-business relationship, what you have is you have a customer and they say, well, yeah, send me that proposal next week sometime. With government, it's a little bit differently. It's due Friday at noon. If you are late, you're out, whether you have the best price or not. And that's where, we talk about $600 extra hammers. You've heard the stories, and that's what it is. In talking about that, right now is the time. This is the government's fourth quarter, and it ends September 30th, so you're going to start to see an increase in spending. Unfortunately, it works a little bit differently. Their incentive is to spend, because if they don't spend now, they're not going to get it fiscal year 2017, which starts October 1. Where all of us have a common denominator. Our job is to save. Our job is to save money for ourselves, for our businesses, and as well as your clients. Something that you want to take away from this presentation: lowest price, technically responsible. The government's going to go by those 4 words. They're going to go by lowest price, technically responsible. What is the most value for the government, which is, let's just say it, the taxpayer. Very important point that I want to share. There's a lot of federal government agencies in the area. We've got MacDill, Southern Command out in Tampa. We've got Big Pines and the VA. So there are some federal government agencies in the area. Okay? Moving right along here, the 6 strategies that I want to talk about. First, you can be a prime contractor. I think that's the best. When you are the prime contractor, the contract's got your name on it. The government's the buyer, you're the seller. They tell you who to invoice. They sell. Everything is, all T's are crossed and I's are dotted. If you want to be a subcontractor, that means you actually have 2 customers. You can sell to Raytheon or Honeywell. Those are big prime contractors. You are selling to them, to the end user. The end user in this case is the federal government. Okay? Lots of research. There's tons of information out there. For those of you who want to take a look at this type of opportunity, take a look at fbo.gov. fbo.gov. And then give me a call. Again, you're experts at your own field. So you want to share your expertise in terms of consulting. Another area that you could look at is applying for a grant. And then finally, something that we do, we sell to government and we buy back the surplus. And you've seen some of my laptops on the internet. Mark got a couple of them. So we sell, the government actually sells us the laptops, bare bones, no battery, no hard drive, as is. We can't return it. It comes in a pallet, and we have to put the parts into it to fix it. It's a nice little side business. I've got the checklist. I can email it to you. You want to be, a couple points on that is have all your federal tax taken care of, all your ducks in a row, all your documentation, all your suppliers. So when you are going to sell to the government, you're ready to go. Okay. Another thing that we've provided for our clients is the financing. I can tell you that when you sell to government, the dollar amount's a lot higher. When they go, they're not buying 1 or 2 laptops, they're buying like 100. And it's 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. The small business set-aside contracts are anywhere from about $10,000 to about $150,000. Now, most of us don't have those type of resources to put up the money to buy the product and or service, sell it to the government, and wait to get paid. So we do have the financing available for you. And then finally, we are expanding our services to offer reseller training. Some people want to resell, and a part of that is to sell to the government and learn the government contracting piece. Some people just want to resell, and we show them how to do that, and they're like, government's not for me. So, any questions or anything?
What kind of services are they looking for?
Everything.